With your boy Jermaine Quick. Today, we're going to talk about embracing new leadership. It's a message that is well needed, especially in today's world where there's a lot of confusion going on. And I want to make sure that we all are on the same page, vibing out and being on task, being focused. So, as we gather here today, let us take a moment to breathe in the spirit of unity and compassion. Let us acknowledge the divine spark that resides within each and every one of us. May we recognize that we are not just individuals, but threads in the intricate tapestry of humanity. May we feel the interconnectedness that blinds us together. And may we honor the sacredness of our shared human experience. As we prepare to address the challenges that lie before us, let us call upon the wisdom of our hearts and the courage of our spirits. May we be guided by our principles of love, justice, and equality. May our words be infused with kindness, our actions be driven by compassion, and our hearts be filled with empathy. May we strive to create a world that is just, equitable, and peaceful for us all. Everybody tap the screen, share the live, tell a friend. Today's message is called Embracing New Leadership. Now, in today's world, we have a lot going on with our leadership and the segregation of people. And on a larger scale, as human beings, they say we have evolved, but it seems that we're still carnal and still in our feelings when it comes to life itself. To me, no matter how much technology comes into the world, we still have a caveman mentality when it comes to humanity and empathy. The same thing happening today has happened yesterday and prior time before. With the gun violence, and if not gun violence, some type of violence that drove one people out and brought in another people. Leadership changed hands so many different times. The value of life was scaled up and down so many different times. And thank you so much, Perspective Poetic. Thank you so much. And I think that it is time for us as a people to stand up for something. So today we stand at crossroads. We're faced with forces that seek to divide us and segregate us and to disrupt the very fabric of our humanity. But we will not be deterred. We recognize the challenges of our time require a new kind of leadership, one that is grounded in empathy, compassion, and a deep commitment to the well-being of people. This new leadership is not about personal gain or power. It is about collective progress and the advancement of our shared humanity. We will not be swayed by those who seek to drive us apart. We will not be deterred by those forces of fear, hatred, and intolerance. Instead, we will choose to stand together We will choose to lift each other up, to support each other, and to celebrate diversity. I need you guys to think about something. I need you to think about the fact that we have leadership in place now that is looking to segregate us as individuals. The mentality is against all the principles that God stands for. We are a people that have been through many, many circumstances and situations. But yet we are not learning through our trials and tribulations. So then we continue to go through the same rhetoric time and time again in various centuries, various dates, but it's all repetitive in nature. No matter how much technology comes in and how much you think the world is changing, our mentalities are still stuck. We are not moving the way that God may have us to move, but in our own selfishness, we are creating a world that is in a loop-de-loop. For instance, the influenza pandemic, it was in 1907. Same as COVID-19. Difference is more people lost lives. From that point on, we went into what we call the Great Depression, where jobs were lost and many people could not get food. Same as today. Because of technology and automation, jobs are being lost, banks are closing, and we're running a food scarcity. There's a quite similarity between 1907 and 2020. There's a great similarity that has been opposed to us, and it's 100 years later. And we're still looking like yesterday. I often wonder, do people look at China and say, wow, you're growing leaps and bounds. How are you doing it? Instead of still living in the barbaric days where we're still hunting each other down like cavemen, utilizing weapons of mass destruction to tear each other apart. Where is our growth as a country, as a nation? Where is our dignity and humanity as a country, as a nation? How do we move forward in times of disparity? How do we change the direction of our path? One, it's definitely going to require prayer and meditation. Two, it's going to require action. You have read multiple times in your scripture that faith without works is dead, just as well as works without faith is dead. We can pray all day, but if you don't put any action into place, nothing will happen. Which brings me to this point. When I started in the industry, I put in a lot of work. And I began to see those around me that wanted me to do their work instead of them doing their own work. And I started to notice that a lot of people would rather for you to work than themselves. They want to reap the rewards of the outcome, but don't want to put the work in. I started noticing when I was building people websites and doing different things like that. It was okay for me to do the work, but they literally wanted me to run their situation. And I come to find out that there's a lot of people across the world that do the same thing. No one wants to work anymore, but everybody wants the benefits. And so it's easy for leadership, new leadership, to come in and have an agenda and a plan, because most people don't want to do the work that's necessary to hold people accountable. Because then they would have to hold themselves accountable to get up and make those decisions. So rules can be set into play, things that may hurt other people, other races, nationalities, and everybody will sit back and say, oh, well, as long as it's not happening to me, I'm okay with it. And this is why we fail as a people, because no one wants to be held accountable for the things we do. It's okay to talk about somebody else and hurt somebody else and not hold yourself accountable for the empathy that should have been displayed, but more so the rhetoric that was put across the table. You see, in our country today, they want to release, I noticed that our president wants to release the files of JFK and Martin Luther King. And I heard someone else in their post say how this tactic will sway people to now want to go against Martin Luther King and the holiday, and to take his name off the streets, and to do all of those, to defame his character. And this is what I call the white sheet over your eyes, because when we get to a point where we start accepting things and not holding people accountable for their subjection to something, this is where we lose the battle. For instance, I seen a video where they said that George Floyd, they're going to release the tape on George Floyd and what really happened, to give cause for that man to put his knee on his neck. And there was a reason for that, they're claiming. And so they want to reverse history and tell a new story. A new story that will benefit those in the forefront. And this is what hurts us the most, because we begin to divide each other once again. And the more a people is divided and not unified, the more agendas can go across and hurt the totality of the mission, which is all of us coming together as one nation to create a world that is better for our future. It's funny how we can come together for a football game, right? You know, everybody can come together for a football game, and it could be black, white, Mexican, Chinese. Everybody's there for one specific goal, to watch their team win. But right after that game is over, then we go back to our normal, quote unquote, lives. Back to the hatred. Back to the profanity. Back to the numbness. And we wonder why we can't grow as a community and as a country. This is due to our lack of understanding of how God is trying to work with us each and every day. The elevation has to be on high all the time, and not just for a specific cause like a football game. We must move forward. We must also acknowledge the dangers of unchecked power and the manipulation of rules to serve special interests. We've seen this time and time again throughout history. As we navigate the complexities of new leadership and regimes, it's essential to recognize that those in power often manipulate rules and policies to serve their agenda. We must see through the smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen, beyond rhetoric and propaganda to uncover the truth. Transparency is a key to holding in those in power accountable and assuring that their actions align with the greater good. We must demand clarity and honesty from our leadership. Do we really have that right now? Do we have clarity and honesty from our leadership enough for us to make the proper decisions to keep them in place? We must be willing to challenge them when they fail to deliver. Now, how many of us are willing to do that or just fall in line? By doing so, we can create a more just and equitable society where power is wielded responsibly for the benefit of all. Which brings me to another question. Are these new rules that are coming into play benefiting everyone or for those specific people? And we as a people, how do we change this and hold people accountable for their ways and actions? Well, we need to work together to bring about the vision of transparency and accountability. Let's support leaders who prioritize honesty and integrity. And let's hold them accountable whenever they falter. Together, we can build a brighter future. Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, people aren't ready. Yes, people are still learning themselves. Yes, we have so many difficulties in our economic base, in our social base. However, if one person comes forward to put the energy in, and then another, and another, we can make great stride and change in our world. We know the problems. The solutions must be bringing work to the table. You got to put the work in. No matter how hard, no matter how much you look at it. I have a new book out right now. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, you do movies, you do music, you got a book out." Like, your natural spark, if you're a true believer in yourself, God, and the universe, your natural spark comes when you let go. Your natural ability to be the best you, the best version of you, comes when you allow God to take over. The problem is you don't want to let God take over. You want to control. And that's how our leadership is today. Everyone wants to control everything. And so therefore, that's why we have global warming. That's why we have all the things that we have in our communities, in our nations. There's a slight difference when you allow God to take over. One, you don't worry as much. You can't worry about things you can't control. But yet you try to, but you can't. It'll only stress you out even more. And with that stress brings a Great Depression. And that Great Depression can lead to death. And so therefore, it is up to us to strive to want more, to work towards a better future. Our leaderships should serve the people, not just special interests and personal agendas. We gotta rise. We have to rise. We must rise to the challenge. Let us stand together. And standing together, we will not fall for anything. I say this to say that our people have become comfortably numb. Comfortably numb to the nonsense that is going on in our world today. Comfortably numb to the point where we don't love like we should anymore. We worry about the wrong things. Everybody's talking about standing on business, standing on business. We're not standing on business if we're not doing anything to lift one another up. Empathy has left the building. When you're driving down the street and you're taking a normal route that you take every day, and you're going at a normal pace, somebody speeds by you because you're going too slow for them, and they'll cut you off. And no wonder why so many accidents happen, because we're speeding to get to the same light. You didn't get there any faster, or if you did get there faster, you're still waiting for the light to turn. We're speeding through life and not enjoying not one moment of it. We're speeding through it. Don't you know when life is over and those eyes shut, 6 months from then, you will only be a family memory. A year from then, your family memories will dwindle. And in 2 years, most people will have forgotten about you and moved on with their lives. We're not enjoying life. We're not being productive in life. We're not doing things that have value, that changes the perspective of life. And we expect people to respect us, but we won't do it for ourselves. Understand that life is very hard. I understand that. I understand that. Tap the screen share live. Please tap the screen share live. I understand that life can be full of ups and downs and in trials and tribulations, and we lose people along the way. But if we become and continue to become unfocused, if we continue to be a people that allow nuances to overshadow our victories, then people will forget us in the history books. I see how they took Babylonian and Samaritan times and they call them myth. Like it didn't exist. It's a myth. Mythology. Those times existed. But the people that's writing the books are the ones disguising the information and keeping everyone else in the blind. And then you walk around not knowing how to control your temper, walking around not knowing what foods you should eat to keep your health going, walking around not knowing how to be better human beings to one another. The information is here, but the problem is we're so into ourselves, so glorifying the materialistic world, that we can't see that God has something greater for us and always has and always will. And we can't grow leaps and bounds like we should. A selective few may see a portion of it, but just imagine if the whole world was able to see what we're supposed to bring to this world, how much change there would be. How much change there would be. So since we're running behind the 8 ball, ladies and gentlemen, I advise you to hook up with like-minded people. I advise you to hook up with people that want to see change and have value in their lives. And speaking of value, I have a new book out. It's called Driven. The purpose of the book is a motivational book, motivational memoir about my life and why I've been so driven to see things in a positive way. Because you see, through all the turmoil that we go through, I know a lot of women, I've talked to a lot of women who go through or who have went through some type of hurt, harm, or danger when it comes to molestation, when it comes to domestic violence, all of those things. And the true question is, are some of our men aware of the power of the woman and what she represents in our community? And if they knew that much, would they continue to hurt them or put them in a position of hurt? Because that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's sister, somebody's aunt, somebody's grandmother. When we look at our women, do we just look at them as product, property, or do we look at them as manifestation and healing and nurturing? What are we looking for as a man? And our women, vice versa. When you're looking at a man, what are you looking at him for? How much money he got, how good he looked, or is he a provider in your life? Is he one that you would like to see be a provider in your life? Are you willing to sacrifice your life to be with him because he's a provider for you? Same thing with our leadership. Are we willing to sit back and allow them to just run the country, or are we willing to put in the work necessary so that we can hold people accountable for their ways and actions? This is deep on all levels because it requires thinking. It requires action. It requires us to say, yes, I want to make the change. And so I say unto you, let us rise to the challenge. Let us choose to stand together, to lead with compassion, and to demand transparency and accountability for those who are in power. My message is clear. It is our time to make the change. My message is clear that it will take your spark of life to move mountains to make this happen. Let me make this also clear that love, true love, comes with a price. Are you willing to pay that price? True love comes with a price because it comes with a sacrifice. You saying to yourself, I'm not allowing this world to dictate to me what I want in it and what part I play. God tells me what part I play. And I'm going to put in it everything possible to get something positive back out of life. So I say to you, thank you this morning. Tap the screen, share the live. Thank you. I hope this message hits those that it's supposed to hit. Because in the long run, time waits for no man. And as we sit around and just keep believing that time, we have all the time in the world, some of you tomorrow may not wake up. Some of you tomorrow may not wake up, and you're sitting back, taking life for granted, not enjoying the spaces that you have with people, not enjoying each other's company, not holding people accountable, not being a part of the process. Leads to lack of progress. That's my message for you this morning. I tap the screen, share the live, tell a friend that we were on. Listen, I promise you that as I go through life, I'm learning certain things, certain people and lives I go into that are not really conducive for growth, but some of them are for whatever the purpose are. For me, it's not about that. Connecting, helping people, that's what it's about. And I will continue to do that with all my efforts. And I pray that this message helps someone today. And if you didn't get it, share it with someone that may have needed this message today about unification and their leadership, their ability to separate their ego from their understanding so that we can move forward and create a better life for us all. If you can find people that are like that, like-minded, you have found a good thing. If you can find a relationship that is like-minded, you have found a good thing. So I pray each and every day for you guys. I love you guys. Thanks, guys, for coming through. Ooh, Candy. I appreciate you, Candy. Thank you for coming through. And I will be back tomorrow. Well, hopefully tomorrow. And I definitely will be back Wednesday and Friday to give you guys an early morning inspiration so y'all can move forward during your week, your work week. I'm going to come back with some financial literacy and help you guys if you have something that you're trying to do, like a book or whatever, show you guys how to do it from A to Z, or at least give you the instance of how to do it so that you can move forward and be the spark you need to be. Okay. So tune in for our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning sessions, and we can go from there. And thank you for coming this Sunday morning elevation. I hope if you're going to your church and your prospective places that you have a great time. Enjoy God in his presence. Enjoy people in their presence. Also, don't forget to go get the new book. It's called Driven. It's at Amazon Prime on hardback, paperback, as well as ebook. It's going to be a great read. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Motivational book. It's my memoir. I'll tell you about different stars I met, celebrities, different people growing up in the game. So please go check it out. Check it out. And hey, y'all, it's been wonderful. It's been fly. I will see y'all on the flip side. I have some things I have to do today, and I'm appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for coming through. May God bless you and may heaven smile upon you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the Muslim brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings to everyone, each and every one of you, and may God continue to walk with you through this day. Thank you for coming through. Peace.